Bryant.
Yeah.
Bishop, your book needs to be bound again.
Yeah.
All right, your daily devotion needs to be bound again. Okay, so Bishop, we're live. We're live with in Kenya, and of course Kenyans all over the world, and
Yeah.
friends of Kenya as well.
Yeah.
And you are, for me, a very spiritual person. You've mentored me over the last more than 5 years. I'm a tenant in your church. And I don't know, I told you the other day that I woke up in the morning and I was rushing, and then I thought, oh God, I haven't read my morning devotion. Actually, I haven't read it for quite a while, and I was like, and then I had a moment where I said to God, I said, God, I'm so sorry, but I'm really in a hurry. Then I thought, shame on you, Esther. I mean, God has granted you this life. How can you be in such a hurry that you can't even spend 5 minutes to do your morning devotion? So I felt kind of guilty, and I sat down, and the voice in me said that we need to have time for God. And I think because we live by God's grace, we're all very busy.
Yeah.
All right, we're all very busy. We're running our families, we're running our business, but we live by God's grace.
Yeah.
So I thought I should start something right now as we're heading to towards the election, and as Kenyans face so many challenges. Today being the 8th of April, I said, for between 8 and 9, twice a day, that means in the morning and in the evening, between 8 and 9, 8 being significant of the month of August, and 9 being the date we're going to have the elections. We should come to prayer for Kenya. We should dedicate time for God and just engage God. All right, so you have your daily devotion, which I'd like you to read. I read mine earlier. Mine was Require God's Presence.
Yeah.
I use Joyce Meyer, and I've loved it. I've had this book for over 5 years, and I take it across the world, and I always write the date, and I pray, I highlight. It's a very highlighted book. Sometimes I put my prayer in text, writing letters to God. But I just wanted you to greet Kenyans and basically share your morning devotion of today, and this initiative of scheduling an appointment with God and dedicating time for prayers and time for God.
Well, as I woke up this morning, I'm so happy for your welcoming me to your home. It's my first time to be here, and I'm delighting. It's very smart, very wonderful. As a Kenyan, this is a very interesting time, and what I know that in Kenya, people seem not to understand something. We are in a rush to get everything in the world, which we can't. One thing I know, all of us are equal. We are given one day. Every one of us, Esther has 1 day to live. I have 1 day to live. Yesterday is buried, it's in the grave. Tomorrow is in the womb. He has not been born.
Wow.
So you have 1 day. That 1 day, the Lord says, every time you work, you should thank the Lord for that day. This is the day that the Lord has made.
We will rejoice.
We will rejoice and be glad in it. But people are not glad in the day because they are concentrating on what they should have. And so most of the time we should live this 1 day rejoicing, because it doesn't matter how much you have, where you live, what you do, you have 1 day. And the greatest riches is not what you have, it is breathing. The greatest riches that we have is if we can breathe in the morning and say that, God, I'm alive. That is very, very important. And the greatest person on that 1 day is what Esther, I've heard her say, she's doing right now, helping people wherever they are. The greatest success in a human being, if you can kneel down, wash the feet of a poor man. That is the greatest success in life. It's not having 10 stories of houses or of being rich and having money everywhere. because that money, there are people in the grave who have all the money. In fact, the richest people in the world are in the grave.
They're dead already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would want to encourage Kenyans to be glad with this one day and not live in fear, because every time we have an election, there is a spirit of fear which comes around. People start murdering one another because of elections. Some hate one another and they can't forgive one another forever. All those days are wasted and you live a horrible life while thinking that you are doing well. So today I want to say that it's my prayer that God bless the Kenyans at this season, that even though people are shouting, they are trying to put one another down. The purpose of leadership is not to kill your brother or belittle him or make sure that he looks so small. Leadership is to build your friends, to build their lives, to encourage them. And especially when you become a political leader, you build the whole of the country. Doesn't matter from wherever they come from. And so God has blessed us to give us this country. And you know it can be destroyed in a week. The way we saw last time, 2007, small children were being killed. People driving who don't know what is happening. I saw their hands cut, some they watch, the remaining with a watch. When I watched at the United Nations there, they showed us the films. And it was horrible. We don't want to repeat the same thing. And we want to pray that God will help us to come through that spirit of hatred, and so that we can be able to move forward. It is very wonderful that now we are going to start this prayer daily,
Twice a day,
twice a day.
8 to 9.
Kenyans need prayer. Not only prayer of talking, but being serious with prayer, asking God to help our nation. Having a nation is something so wonderful that people have never known. If you have a nation, you call your country, this is my home, this is where I live, this is where I'm brought up. It doesn't matter which tribe you come from. It matters that we are all a nation. A nation is people who have come together and agreed to become one. They have said now we are going to be called Kenya. From wherever we come from, we will behave as Kenya. And so we made a flag, we made a covenant that we will love this nation, we will stand with it, we will pray for it, and we will make sure that everybody, all the people in Kenya, we will hold their hands and move together with them. And that's why we do whatever we do as a nation, and we have done so well. We don't have to judge ourselves so harshly and say we have done nothing. Those are words of people who don't understand statesmanship. When you are a statesman, you talk positively about the future, because the future is the all sum of what we have not received. There are things that we want to receive, but we have not received them. But we are walking towards that. We might be walking slowly, we must be walking fast, or we must be moving as if we cannot be able to reach, but we can move slowly, and finally we will reach there, and our children will be blessed.
Okay, so Bishop, I got a chance to read my devotion. Let's hear what your devotion says. So, you know, most Kenyans, like when I wake up, I just say, "Good morning, God, I love you."
Yeah.
All right, and thank you for the day. I listen to worship songs when I have a lot more time, but now I'm dedicating 8 to 9 to God, morning and evening, so that I can be in His presence, and I hope that I can carry Him throughout the day. But what does your devotion for today say, and why do you walk with a daily devotion?
Daily devotion is walking into God's place or into God's gates. We break the gates with thanksgiving.
So, read us
So,
your daily devotion.
Now this one here is April 8. Thou art my hiding place. That is Psalm 32, verse 7. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble.
God.
And God preserved you this week. Last week.
When my car was stoned.
When your vehicle was being stoned
Yes,
and you closed yourself in the car, they say they are going to burn it. They did not burn it.
it's true.
All evil was there, but God stood for you.
Yes.
Thou shalt canvass me about with songs of deliverance. That is God himself will surround you with songs of deliverance. That God is able to send angels to make a home in my home, to make a home in my life. How blessed the thought that God himself becomes the bomb-proof shelter. God himself, at that particular time that you saw the chaos, God comes and becomes a bomb-proof shelter. Our lives are hidden with Christ in God. Nothing can touch us to do the harm until all the defensive power of his omnipotence is exhausted. God is omnipotent, all powerful, and is capable of taking care of us. Is there any possible excuse for you to carry around that load of worry under these circumstances? When great cities prepare to withstand a siege, it is usual for their armies to provide a multiple ring of defenses. Even so, even every Christian is provided with numerous encirclements, each one of them invincible before the very results of Satan. Satan cannot be able to see what the Lord has given you. And that's why they say, they who are with us are more than those ones. Even if you think they are so many wanting to finish you. Even so, we Christians are provided a lot of security. It is interesting and significant that one of these lines of defense is songs of deliverance. One, you might not see them. They are invincible. But they are around you, songs of deliverance. And because of the love you have for the Lord, with which, according to our fast, God encompasses us. The power of trustful rejoicing in times of testing is greatly underestimated. God wants you to have a singing heart. Let it be one of yours of lines of defense. Let it be one of your lines of defense. A singing heart. And so, someone, Anne Johnson Flint, wrote and said, I know not, but God knows.
It's true.
Oh, blessed rest from fear. All my unfolding days to him are plain and clear. Each anxious, puzzled, why? From doubt or dread that grows, finds answer in this thought, I know not, but he knows.
He knows. He knows.
He knows.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Bishop, we say leaders are from God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I support Raila Amolo Odinga.
Yeah.
I've wanted him to be our president